situation. To our west, we have a tornado watch that goes all the way until 2 a.m. Now, it looks like this activity here, the squall line, is going to be moving towards Louisville after around 11:30, a little bit later on tonight, and it is very potent as well. It's moving east pretty quickly at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. We do have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings for parts of our viewing area. That would be in Du Bois County and a little portion of western Perry County until 10:45, with the potential of some large hail, damaging wind gusts in excess of 60, possibly 70 miles per hour. So there are a number of warnings all along this line. Everything in orange here is a severe thunderstorm warning, and then embedded in some of those severe thunderstorm warnings are some tornado warnings. This is a radar confirmed tornado to the north of Evansville, where there's some significant rotation. So on that track, if that does hold together, there could be a potential tornado on the ground heading down Interstate 64 eastbound toward Du Bois County and into Perry County. There was also a tornado on the ground here down the Western Kentucky Parkway off to the southwest of Madisonville. So this is what we're waiting on here. It's going to be moving through our area over the next 2 to 3 hours. So definitely be ready, be prepared, have that plan ready to go to seek shelter if a warning is issued for your area over the next couple of hours. So Alden, if we want to go ahead and zoom in a little bit here, we can go ahead and put a track on some of that squall line that is heading to Princeton, Indiana right now, and is going to be eventually heading toward the Jasper area and into the Ferdinand area as well. So here is Du Bois County. So this is that leading edge that is moving east very rapidly at anywhere from about 50 to 60 miles per hour. Anywhere on that leading edge.
New tornado warning.
Yeah, there's that tornado warning now for Du Bois County. So that is close to Patoka Lake in Ferdinand and Jasper, and this is going until 10:45 Eastern time with this new tornado warning right here. If you want to put on the velocity data here, Alden, see how, yeah, there's that potential tornado right here. So here's Evansville, Interstate 69, right over Interstate 69 right there. So this is moving very quickly, about 55 miles per hour to the east. So on that, as it moves due east, just along and north of Interstate 64, that could put it pretty close to the central portions of Du Bois County. On that track, heading toward Spurgeon, if you know that area, at about 10:07, into Lockhart at 10:13, Holland, Indiana, at about 10:20, and into the Jasper area. So heads up here, Jasper. That is your county seat there in Du Bois County at about 10:25 Eastern time. Into the Adeyville area at 9:30 Central, Patoka Lake at about 9:30 Central, and then into English, Indiana. So we're talking into Crawford County at about 10:45. So this has been consistent. If you want to back that up a couple frames, Alden, you can see that this is held together very well. This is likely winds in excess of about 90 miles per hour on that little dot right there. So that is likely a tornado on the ground between there, Scott and Princeton, Indiana, and heading over Interstate 69. So that yellow and that orange, likely those pixels over 90 miles per hour. So a high likelihood that we've got a tornado on the ground here near the Somerville area. So this is tracking just north of Interstate 64. So that is, I would say, a good 80, 90 miles out to the west of Louisville right now. But it has prompted a tornado warning for pretty much all of Du Bois County here until 10:45. So we're going to stay on here with you possibly for quite some time, as we do have a very potent and stout squall line out to the west with some embedded features that are showing a lot of rotation and the risk for a tornado. So know what to do if a tornado warning is issued for your area here late tonight. You may actually want to stay up. If you're typically, you go to bed a little early, you might want to stay up, especially if you're a hard sleeper, you might want to stay up a little bit longer tonight to be ready for some of these warnings. If you're going to go to bed, make sure you have a way to wake up, that those alerts are on, cell phone charged, ready to go. Lowest level of your home is where you want to go, in the basement preferably. away from the doors and the windows, the most interior portion of your home. So definitely find that sturdy shelter, and hopefully, knowing that we've had a tornado watch here for a little while tonight, you've got that plan in place. You want to get out of mobile homes and find a sturdier shelter beforehand. Have that severe weather safety kit ready to go, first aid, flashlight, candles, charged cell phone, and you can cover up with pillows, blankets to block any possible debris. So please take the situation here seriously tonight. Again, a tornado watch for most of our viewing area until 2 o'clock this morning. A severe thunderstorm watch for the northern tier of our viewing area. That is up in Jackson, Jennings, and Lawrence counties in Indiana. So taking a look at the various watches and warnings that we have in place. Again, the majority of our area under that tornado watch, with that squall line just out to our west now, moving towards the Evansville area. So here is Interstate 69. That's where we have that tornado warning right now, and heading towards the Jasper area. Let's go ahead and look at Futurecast as well, Alden, and give you guys a heads up on when this line is going to be moving through. So the line being picked up very well on Futurecast, and this is the weather model. It's going to take us into the future here over the next couple of hours. It looks like the storms kind of congeal into one line. If we back that up just a little bit, so it looks like around 11 p.m. to midnight, this is going to be moving through Metro Louisville. So it's not going to take a whole long time to get here and move through. We want that leading edge to get out of here. That leading edge is where we have the potential of damaging wind gusts in excess of 60 to 70 miles per hour. Unfortunately, there are a lot of folks without power, still around 35,000 people without power in Jefferson County alone, way more than that over much of Kentucky from the first round of storms that happened earlier today, of course. But another round two is on the way over the next couple of hours. Notice that it is moving out of our viewing area into Lexington as we approach midnight, or about 12:30. So this is not going to be a long-lasting severe weather event necessarily happening here over the next couple of hours, as this squall line is racing to the east very, very quickly. So this is what we're dealing with. We can hope that this will be on a bit of a weakening trend as we get a little bit deeper into the nighttime, as it does lose a little bit of its potency, its energy as it moves to the east, but taking it very seriously as it moves through our entire viewing area here again over the next couple of hours. So as we head back over to Max HD radar, here's the situation at hand right now. This entire line has a severe thunderstorm warning on it, and then again embedded in that line we have some tornado warnings. So again, if you're in the Jasper area, you're going to be wanting to seek shelter very, very soon. That line is just out to the west of you. There is that curvature in there and an indication that there is likely a tornado on the ground in this area here. So this is tracking east at 55 miles per hour. You're going to be heading over 231 here in Du Bois County. From between Jasper and Ferdinand is likely the highest likelihood where that tornado could pass through. So this is a look at that confirmed, radar confirmed tornado right now. Let's go ahead and go back to the velocity mode and see if that circulation is still pretty healthy here. Yeah.
Just some extra information on that confirmed tornado warning as well. That's been observed by trained weather spotters. This is still out of our viewing area, but moving into it fairly soon. Trained weather spotters reported a tornado near Fort Branch, Indiana. Confirmed tornado is located near Oakland City, moving to the east at 75 miles per hour. Wow. So this is moving very, very quickly. So that's why these tornado warnings have been issued so early, because you're not really going to get a lot of lead time on it. That's why we have this warning issued so far in advance of the actual tornado itself. But moving to the east there at roughly 75 miles per hour. You wanted velocity back on. Let's put that on as well. I don't quite see that couplet signature that we were looking at earlier. Not quite as tight as it was, but still south of to the southeast of Oakland City and north there of Spurgeon, making its way towards Lockhart at the moment.
Yeah, and that's a good point that you made there, Alden, that these storms can kind of look far away from your community. So here's Jasper, here's Huntingburg. It can kind of look like it's still a decent ways out to the west, but moving 75 miles per hour down Interstate 64 for, moving faster than the speed limit here, are these storms racing to the east. So it's not going to take much time for them to move into your area. The good news when they move that fast, if there is any good news here, is that they will move out just as quickly as they moved in. So just got to get that leading edge through. So this is where we have the potential of winds in excess of 80, 90 miles per hour out to the west of Lockhart, Indiana. But again, with the speed that this is moving to the east, it's not going to take long to move into and through all of Du Bois County here within the next, let's say 15 minutes to a half hour or so. This tornado warning continues for all of Du Bois County here until 10:45. So on that track, heading towards the Pikeville area at 10:14, into Duff at about 10:18, 10:20, into Huntingburg, into Du Bois County at about 10:20. So that's only 10 minutes from now. Jasper heads up, heading your direction around 10:20, 10:30, and then into Birdseye and Patoka Lake at about 10:30 or about 9:30 Central Time. So again, this is a severe thunderstorm. This is a squall line. Embedded in that, you have the circulation and the potential tornado on the ground. Observed tornado not long ago. There's kind of that bounded weak echo region where there would be the possible tornado. There could be little spin ups along this line where we get these kinks as well, these little notches right there. So we're going to have to watch out for this entire line as it gets closer. So let's go ahead and back up our view to more of a broad view, and then we can put a track, maybe I'd say in general this line about 60 miles per hour. Notice that we're starting to get that apex that we were expecting. We had several supercells out ahead of the line. They have come together now. So we're developing this bow echo. You can easily get hurricane force winds out of that, some large hail. And also, we haven't talked about this, another very threatening situation is the flash flood potential. There are some flash flood warnings in these areas as well. So we're just going to want to stay inside as this squall line races to the east. So we're tracking now the entire squall line as it moves towards Louisville, heading toward Paoli, Indiana at about 10:30 to 10:45, possibly into Metro Louisville not long after 11 o'clock tonight. This line was moving at about 55 miles per hour. It looks like it has picked up some speed here over the last hour, getting into some of that jet stream energy, possibly into Bardstown as we approach 11:30, and then moving basically out of our viewing area not long after midnight. So a very, very strong, potent, dangerous situation with this squall line. We need to watch out for any rogue severe thunderstorm, the supercell out ahead of the line that can have quite a bit of rotation. That's where this tornado was on the ground down the western Kentucky Parkway. That's still a decent way west of Grayson County, but we're going to need to watch that cell right there. But that cell also may end up merging with the southern flank of this squall line here over the next half hour or so, as that is tracking a little bit to the northeast as that line catches up. So a very interesting situation here with this very strong squall line developing ahead of a cold front that's going to be moving through the nighttime and finally bringing us some very nice weather for much of next week. But right now, let's do that little measuring tool, Alden, and I'd say we're a good 50, 60 miles out to the west of Louisville, that kind of leading edge right there. So yeah, about 60 miles out to the west of Louisville, but keep in mind it's moving at about 60, 70 miles to the east. So that puts this apex right here, this bowing part of this bow echo, heading right towards Louisville in about an hour or so. So we've got a little time to prepare and get ready for the potential of damaging straight line winds in excess of 60, 70, possibly 80 miles per hour, and the potential of some spin-up tornadoes embedded in this squall line as well. Looking pretty ragged at the moment, but it's still very strong right now. Let's go look at the velocity in this entire line. We might be able to see some of those winds. We had a wind report of 65 in Evansville not long ago. So anything in the blue, that's in excess of about 50, 60 miles per hour. So that is tapping into those jet stream winds, pushing this squall line out in the center right here. So damaging winds, high likelihood along this line. And that's why we have severe thunderstorm warnings basically covering that entire squall line as it is racing to the east now. So some of those damaging winds, notice here, Alden, already getting very, very close to Du Bois County. So it looks like there's that potential for damaging winds now crossing over that Du Bois County line. That pixel right there that Alden just queried has winds at 60, 70 miles per hour. So possibly, again, we've been talking about these lines, how much energy they have with the dynamics and the ingredients in the atmosphere could produce hurricane force winds. That means 74 mile per hour winds or greater. So this is the color that you do not want to see on Max HD radar. We have this color palette to highlight where there's the potential of damaging winds. And again, that is heading very close to Highway 231, Jasper, Huntingburg, Ferdinand, heads up all of Du Bois County. Again, you've got this tornado warning for another half hour until 10:45. But we're going to watch here over the next 5-10 minutes how quickly this is going to move through Du Bois County. So it's going to likely be in and out of Du Bois County before that tornado warning expires at 10:45. So let's go ahead back to the regular radar view to reflectivity. So yeah, your damaging winds are going to be right along this leading edge. We have Lagodi under that severe thunderstorm warning. That severe thunderstorm warning now includes Lawrence County in Indiana. That's Mitchell. That's Bedford. We've got another area down south here under that severe thunderstorm warning as well that stretches into Breckenridge, Meade, Perry counties, and southern Crawford County.
That's for 60 mile per hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. That's moving to the east at 55 miles per hour. So that's just a base warning. It's meeting the minimum threshold criteria, but still a fairly serious storm to take seriously, as we have had some significant winds reported with that earlier. And as you were saying earlier, Ben, water is going to be a big problem in the sense of flash flooding potentially being a significant problem out there. We already have a couple of flash flood warnings down there. We've had a lot of rain over the last week, so we don't need any more for a while. And thankfully, once we're done with tonight, we are going to have a period where we can dry out for just a little bit. But there's that latest severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 11 p.m. Eastern time, again for parts of Perry County, western portions of Meade County, and western portions of Breckenridge County.
And let's get a check-in with Christina San Juan as well. She is looking at storm reports, looking at street level mapping, looking at ways to stay safe tonight as well. Christina?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Ben. So first, starting with where we think that strongest of the wind is embedded in that tornado warning that, again, is just now pushing into Du Bois County, just to the north of White Sulphur Springs. So you're going to find places like Bethel Cemetery, Hobbs Cemetery, Rockingham Saddle Club, Sunshine Acres. We have Northview Estates. You folks are going to start to really probably be hearing that wind pick up in the next couple of minutes. That'll pass through the Ireland area, as well as Brescher Landscaping and Nursery, moving into Jasper Youth Sports Complex, as well as it continues racing off toward the east. So if you are anywhere in Du Bois County, you do need to be getting in your safe spot. If you have a basement, that is preferred, but I understand that not everybody has basements, so the next best option is just to make sure you're in that sturdy shelter as far away from windows and doors as you can. Hopefully you're able to prep before any of these warnings were issued so that you aren't panicking, as that warning does come in. But make sure you have that severe weather safety kit. So that includes the first aid, flashlight, candles, and charge your cell phone. So even if you aren't inside of this tornado warning in Du Bois County, go ahead and prepare so that by the time if there is a warning issued for your location, you'll already have your first aid kit, your flashlight, your candles, and your charged cell phone in your safe spot. In the event that you do run out of power, of course, you're going to want to have a way to not only get the warnings, but to get the all clear afterwards. Go ahead and bring blankets and pillows and even some helmets with you down to your safe spot. Ben.
Thank you very much, Christina. Great job on all those different locations and everything. We're going to be checking in with Christina. She's going to be looking at, again, the hyper-local places where that threat is going to be heading. We are taking a look now on Max 1 at your regular radar view once again. And Alden, if we can go ahead and do some tracks, that's going to be most important here for tonight, giving everyone a heads up on when this threat is going to be moving into their area. So anywhere from around 55 to 60 miles per hour is this line moving to the east. There are some times where it kind of juts out and can be even a little bit faster than that. There are portions that kind of slow down. So this is heading towards Patoka Lake here as we approach 9:30 Central Time, 10:30 Eastern Time. Into French Lick, heads up about 10:30 to 10:45, so not long, heading your direction into Paoli at about 10:45, and into Marengo there and at about 10:56 as we approach 11 o'clock. So expanding our view out a little bit more so we can get our bearings here. So Louisville is right behind me here. So here's Metro Louisville. Here's this line that is racing out ahead. A second ago, it was about 60 miles out to the west when we did this, maybe 10 minutes ago, and now it's even a lot closer to Metro Louisville, probably only about 40 miles out to the west of us. That leading edge getting much, much closer. That's why we have these severe thunderstorm warnings for the potential of damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. We're going to get frequent cloud to ground lightning strikes, torrential rainfall. Alden putting on the lightning strikes, and feel free to query that as well and see how many. There's going to be hundreds of them in this view alone. We've got 564 lightning strikes over the last 15 minutes to a half hour. So this is racing our direction. If you want to go ahead and do that whole bow echo again as it moves to the east at, again, anywhere from around 55 to 60 miles per hour. So we've got all those different threats. There's the potential of some decent size hail, possibly up to quarter size hail with this. Destructive winds. The torrential rainfall, which could cause some flash flooding. We've already got a very saturated ground from the rounds of showers and thunderstorms we've had all week. So heading into the Paoli area again around 10:45. Hardinsburg, by the way, at about 9:40 Central Time. Into Louisville at about 11:15. Bardstown at 11:30, and into Frankfort at about 12. So there's another tornado warning just out to the west of Lawrence County that just popped in here. So that's just outside of our viewing area, but heads up Bedford. It looks like this area where this kind of like, this is a bookend vortice is what we call that. So that's the top end of that bow echo right there. So this is where there's the potential of some rotation and possible tornado. That's just radar estimated tornado there. So that it could, if it continues, move into near the Bedford area or up to Guthrie, basically the northern half of Lawrence County. Now, all of Lawrence County under that severe thunderstorm warning because of this whole line could pack some damaging wind gusts in excess of 60, 70 miles per hour. And then the deeper purple reds here that you see south of Stockton to the west of Odin, that is where there's the potential of some of that larger hail as well.
And speaking of hail, Ben, actually, I was just looking at that. A lot of the hail estimates right now are only between about a penny and quarter size, which thankfully is not large enough to do any damage. So hail, at least for right now, not the largest concern, but we are still going to be most concerned about those strong wind gusts and those heavy rainfall rates potentially resulting in areas of flooding.
Yeah, can we go ahead and put on the local storm reports that we've seen here over the last several hours, and we'll just kind of take a look at what this system has been doing as it's been moving into Indiana and western Kentucky. So a handful of some of these storm reports. It looks like that was a tornado on the ground there just south of Princeton, Indiana. And then we've got some power outages. We are familiar with that, of course, in Louisville with still about 35,000 customers without power in the metro Louisville area. Wind gusts around 65 miles per hour. And Newburgh, that was at 8:45 Central, so 9:45. So that was about 40 minutes ago with that damaging wind gust near Evansville. So it has a history of doing damage. It has a history of producing some tornadoes. So again, big heads up here for Louisville. Looks like this is going to be moving in within the hour, crossing the Ohio River here. You can see it's getting closer. Each scan, we are seeing this squall line racing closer to our area. And notice if you're in Litchfield and Grayson County, Rough River, there's a tornado warning out towards Beaver Dam. It's not going to take long for that as well to head your direction. So we're going to see those warnings firing up here over the WHAS 11 viewing area as we move over the next half hour to an hour as this complex is moving very rapidly, again, to the east at about 55 to 60 miles per hour. Now, of course, it doesn't have that perfect linear shape. There are areas in this where we've got some clusters of showers and thunderstorms kind of along that line. Still have this tornado warning for Du Bois County out until 10:45, so about 20 more minutes. But Alden, if you want to go there again and look in Du Bois County at some of the wind speeds with our velocity product and look at some of the data there. And just kind of take a look and see if we still see some damaging wind potential along maybe Highway 31. Yeah, there are still some very strong winds here. You got the yellow. This is all 60+ mile-an-hour winds heading through the Jasper area. But then when you get to the yellow and the orange, then we're talking up to near 80, 90 mile per hour straight line winds, possible spin up tornado as well. So if you're in the Huntingburg area, you want to be seeking shelter now. Jasper, be in your place of shelter. Du Bois County, Bird's Eye, be seeking shelter. If you're in Patoka Lake, want to be seeking shelter as well. Anywhere along Interstate 64, up 162, 164. All areas and communities in between here, between Patoka Lake, Jasper, Huntingburg, Bird's Eye, Ferdinand, be seeking shelter right now. Lowest level of your home, away from the doors and the windows, and take action right now here in Du Bois County because these are some very, very strong winds and this whole line racing to the east. Thankfully, it's not going to last too long for you. This threat may only be a 5 or 10 minute threat. That leading edge moves through and you could be in the all clear. We'll definitely try to give you that all clear when we can do that for all of the different communities across the area. Again, tornado watch in place for most of the viewing area here until 2 o'clock this morning. That includes most of the counties within our viewing area. And then we've got a severe thunderstorm watch up along Highway 50 spots here around Jennings, Jackson, and Lawrence counties around Seymour, Brownstown, and Bedford. But south of that, basically Paoli, Salem, Scottsburg, south through Kentucky is this tornado watch. Now, I think that tornado watch will be canceled early because I think these storms are actually going to be out of our viewing area by around midnight or just after that. Because they are moving so quickly off to the east. So if we go ahead and go back, if you want to take the watch off, Alden, and see if we can see some of those flash flood warnings pop up. That is another threat that we're going to need to keep an eye on. So this is the flash flood warning along and south of the Ohio River, a pretty large one right here. Just a ton of warnings here. So the entire squall line, orange, severe thunderstorm warnings. Embedded are tornado warnings, and then included in that are some flash flood warnings. So you've got almost all those different threats on the table here for the next couple of hours. So we're going to be here with you, timing out these storms as they move closer to Louisville here within the next hour. So severe thunderstorm warning in Lawrence County. We've got the tornado warning in around Jasper and Du Bois County. Severe thunderstorm warning for southern Crawford County into Meade and Breckenridge counties. Let's go ahead and check out some of the wind speeds in some other areas as well, Alden, and see what the velocities are looking like here as we move into Perry County. So now instead of red, we're seeing green and blue because we've switched the radar site. But the 60, 70 mile per hour winds heading towards the Tell City area. And you can see that strong wind heading towards Ferdinand right now. And again, that's why this whole line has a severe thunderstorm warning along it. We're likely going to see some more of those severe thunderstorm warnings out ahead of that line being issued very soon. So heads up here. Hardinsburg, Irvington, Brandenburg, Corden, you guys are next to get some warnings. English, Indiana will be the next to get some warnings. And typically your severe thunderstorm warning is issued for about a half hour, 45 minutes. And then the storms will be out of your area. Again, we are seeing some incredible rainfall rates with this as well over saturated ground. This could lead to some flooding in your area. Frequent cloud to ground lightning strikes, and so this portion here moving to the east and southeast at about 50 to 60 miles per hour, heading towards Cloverport here at about 9:30 Central. So it's basically on your doorstep right now. Obviously, Hardinsburg at about 9:40 Central Time, to Flaherty as we approach 11 o'clock Eastern, into Litchfield at 10:05 Central. So that's about a half hour away from you guys, and then into Elizabethtown at 11:15 Eastern Time. And around that time as well, I'd say 11:15 to 11:30, we're going to see this line pushing through the metro Louisville area.
Some good news.
Yeah, go ahead, Alden.
Some good news, Ben. Downstream of that severe thunderstorm warning for parts of where is it? Crawford County and Orange County, Indiana. They've just put out a regular special weather statement, which means that you have a significant storm moving in your direction, but it's not severe, for wind gusts up to only 50 miles per hour, which would tell us that perhaps we're seeing a little bit of weakening here, which would also be a good thing because we were not in sunshine as long as some of the areas back to our west were, where they had several confirmed tornadoes, but still seeing some very heavy rainfall, which is going to be one of the larger hazards that we're facing for tonight. I'm also seeing some damage reports coming in out of Huntingburg with some power outages and trees down near the water treatment plant there in Huntingburg at the moment, and some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts being reported in downtown Jasper as well. So it seems like Du Bois County and that tornado warning not looking quite as significant or as strong as it was earlier, which is good news.
Yeah, if you want to get the CAPE loaded up here in just a second, Alden, we'll take a look at the convective available potential energy, because that is a good point. That so this is the colors that you see here are indicating the energy that the storms have to become severe. Basically, the storm fuel, the food for the storms to become severe, and it is less as the storms move to the east. So the CAPE, this energy for the storms, has been much greater out to the west, where they had more sunshine. As the storms move into less energetic air, we hope, cross our fingers, that these storms will be on a bit of a weakening trend as we approach midnight and they move through the metro area. With that said, we're likely still going to have quite a few warnings to deal with here over the next hour and a half or so. Let's go ahead and go to street level 2, where we still have some of those strong winds with Christina on max 3 there in Du Bois County. I know you were keeping a close eye there.
That's absolutely right, Ben. So right over St. Anthony, stretching to St. Mark's, that looks like one of the areas that is containing the strongest of the wind within that tornado warning in Du Bois County. So if any of these places sound familiar to you and you know that you live close by, you still do need to be staying in your safe spot. Second Home Pet Boarding, which is in the St. Anthony area. We have St. Anthony Mill, Tri-Plastics, the St. Anthony Cemetery, Stay Brewed, and also just kind of panning around here. It's right off of South St. Anthony Road South. We have East State Road 64, where that intersects with Chestnut Street, and East State Road 450 as well. Again, if you know you live in very close to any of those areas, go ahead and just stay put, and we'll be able to give you the all clear once the threat is done.
All right, and let's go back to do some tracking and get some towns and let some people get a heads up here. We can really do this along this entire line. We can go from north to south or south to north, whatever you prefer here, Alden, and give folks a heads up. We can start with the big, broad track, as this is generally moving east at about 50 to 60 miles per hour, as sometimes there's some areas that are jutting out a little bit faster than that. But heading into Paoli here at 10:45, you can see that line is just out to the west of Paoli, French Lick, West Baden Springs, right here in Orange County. So that is on your doorstep right now. Also same in Bedford, Indiana. Heading into Litchfield at about 10 o'clock Central Time. So that is about a half hour from now. There's that southern edge right there that still has a tornado warning just out to the west, down the Western Kentucky Parkway. So those are the north and south portions of this line, and moving into Louisville Metro proper at about 11:25. So here within the next 45 minutes or so, to an hour moving through Metro Louisville.
Ben, I have some more good news for you. They've canceled that tornado warning in Du Bois County. They're maintaining that severe thunderstorm warning, but they say a lot of that line is weakening and falling apart. So that's why they've gone ahead and dropped that tornado warning for Du Bois County. And I also just want to put this into motion for the last hour, and it even looks like we are seeing a little bit of a gradual weakening trend with that overall line as it continues to push down to the east and to the southeast a little bit as well. So far, they've not issued any new severe thunderstorm warnings. They've canceled that tornado warning for Du Bois County. And for the moment, what we're looking at are wind speeds more so along that kind of threshold criteria for severe thunderstorm warning, which is around 60 miles per hour, maybe some 1-inch hail, but we haven't seen much in the way of hail either.
All right, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and start here. Let's do this portion of the line and do a track over southern Indiana. We'll do the midsection and then we'll do the southern section to give everybody in our viewing area a heads up when these storms could be moving your direction. You got to watch out for these curves right here, these bow echoes. They can pack a punch with damaging straight line winds. So heading into these areas here over the next hour or so, into Bedford in the next few minutes, in about 10 minutes, heading through your area with that portion of the squall line, into Medora at about 11 to 11:10, into Salem as we approach 11:10 as well. Seymour heads up at about 11:25, and then eventually toward Madison, Indiana as we approach midnight. All right, so moving on down the line here, you can see this looks a little bit more ragged in that area, but still there's potential of some isolated damaging wind gusts in that area. Starting to see some of that rain get closer to Corden, and so this is tracking off towards the east and southeast. Watching out for some of those more organized segments of this squall line. There is the potential we could have a couple spin ups every once in a while too, which are typically your EF0, EF1 winds, maybe around 90 to 100 miles per hour, not too different than the damage you can get from very strong straight line winds. So Hardinsburg heading your direction here at 9:45, into Irvington, these are Breckenridge County communities here at about 9:50 to 10 o'clock Central, into Brandenburg at about 11, into Fort Knox 11:15, and into Elizabethtown around 11:15 to 11:20. So that would be putting this storm system up to around Interstate 65 after 11 o'clock for tonight. Let's check out that lightning strikes. If you want to do that, go back an hour and then to where we are now with lightning, that's kind of an indication of weakening trend or staying the same strength. So if we can get that counter here, we can see if we still have the same amount of lightning strikes as we had earlier within this line. So right now 582 strikes, and then was that down to 247 in that same viewing area there?
Yeah, down the, looks like it's 584 within that red box.
I mean, there's still a whole lot of lightning. Still hundreds of lightning strikes here over the last hour. Still a strong storm system heading into our area. We do hope there will be some weakening trend as it moves towards I-65 into some somewhat more stable air. It doesn't look as organized as it was when it was moving out of Illinois and into Indiana and western Kentucky, but we still have quite a few severe thunderstorm warnings along this line. Let's go ahead and look at reflectivity out to the west of velocity, excuse me, out to the west of Louisville and see what kind of wind speeds that we're seeing near Brandenburg, Hardinsburg. Still some really gusty winds coming down around the Du Bois County area too. So it looks like just to the west of Hardinsburg, you've got the potential of some 70-mile-per-hour winds. That is if those winds, these pixels are probably a good 2,000 to 3,000 feet above ground. So if the storms can get those winds kind of channeled to the ground, that's when you can get some pockets of some damaging wind gusts. Anytime you see this green to blue color, that's going to be winds in excess of 60 miles per hour, possibly even 70-mile-per-hour winds. And some of that wind is heading through Perry County in Indiana and now into Breckenridge County. Are we seeing any winds like this farther south as we look down towards yeah, so again, these are the winds up by the cloud deck, basically, a few thousand feet above the ground. So very strong wind speeds here that can sometimes be translated to the ground through those thunderstorm, those downdraft winds that come down along that leading edge. So we've got some very strong winds out there. We're just going to have to watch out for the potential damaging wind gusts here over the next hour or two as this line moves into and through our viewing area. Big concentration of lightning strikes there out to the west of Beaver Dam, the Beaver Dam area. So still a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings along this line. We don't have any tornado warnings in our viewing area at this time, but we're just going to continue to watch this very closely. And hopefully, again, there will be a weakening trend. Let's go ahead and go back to Futurecast as well. It's been a little while since we've done a track on where this line is going, see if it kind of matches up to where it's at now. Not perfect, but it's handling the overall storm system pretty well. That's basically right now, and then moving out of our viewing area by around midnight, 12:30. So the next hour and a half to 2 hours, already moving out of our area into the Lexington and Cincinnati areas. So this is not going to be a long-lasting threat for us, and hopefully by midnight we don't have to worry about this anymore, and we can sleep peacefully for the rest of the nighttime.
Ben, there's also been a new severe weather outlook issued by the Storm Prediction Center, and regarding the tornado watch that we have right now, what it's saying is that we have a well-developed bow echo that's approaching Louisville Metro within the next hour. They do believe that there is good potential for damaging winds of 75 miles per hour or greater, along with the potential for some embedded tornadoes along with it. They're saying as well that the ongoing complex of thunderstorms over the lower Ohio Valley has continued to intensify. The northernmost segment of the line has shown indications of a surging rear inflow jet. This is kind of more technical speak that I'm talking here mainly for Ben. Across southwestern Indiana, they have noticed some of those high wind speeds on the course of, around 75 to 85 miles per hour above the ground level. And they do think that there is the potential for damaging wind along the apex of that bow within the next couple of hours. So something that they're still keeping an eye on.
And Alden, to kind of piggyback off of what you're saying with the winds, I was kind of just querying around to see what the radar was estimating the wind speed at, and I got a few 78, 79 mile per hour winds. We're talking that area in southwestern Indiana as the strongest of the wind begins to push into southwestern Lawrence County. So that's right around the Huron area, just off to the west of Mitchell, Indiana. Includes places like Spice Valley Church and Sosh Drywall.
Yeah, so heads up there around Bedford and Mitchell there in Lawrence County, Indiana. Some very strong wind speeds there. So we're looking at kind of different pockets of damaging winds, possibly in excess of 70 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and look at, if we can do the radar and satellite together, kind of the regional view, and you'll just kind of get an idea of the speed and the strength of this squall line that is moving through the area. And there's also some very steady, I would call stratiform rain behind the storms that could just exacerbate the flooding concerns that we have across the area. So this is the threat. And when they say apex, this is the apex. This is the low-level inflow jet that is pushing this curvature out right here. So anywhere along this apex right here, that peak of the bow echo and squall line is where we've got the potential of those damaging winds in excess of, say, 70, maybe even 80 miles per hour. And then there can be some little spin-up tornadoes involved as well. So we still have the threats out there. There are still some tornado warnings out to down the Western Kentucky Parkway west of Grayson County. So as we zoom back in here closer to Louisville, we just have a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings that are ongoing. So the storm is only now about 20, 30 miles out to the west of Louisville is where we're seeing that heavy rain, the lightning and the thunder, and the potential of some of those damaging wind gusts. So there you can see some of that heavy rainfall moving into western Meade County and into Breckinridge County. Seeing some organization right here just out to the west of Hardinsburg. Hardinsburg be seeking shelter in case of some of these damaging winds. There's a live update, and that is still looking pretty stout right there. Pretty organized front edge. We can check some of those wind speeds out. Take a look at some of the velocities. Yeah, so this is in excess of 60, 70 miles per hour wind speeds just out to the west of you in Hardinsburg. Much of Breckinridge County just out to the west of you. So here's Irvington and Breckinridge County, not far to the west. Be seeking shelter. Lowest level of your home, away from the doors and the windows, is the best and most safest place. Mockport, Brandenburg, these potentially destructive winds are not far from you as well. Let's go ahead and put another track on some of these areas with those wind speeds right here. So yeah, anywhere along there, Alden, that's looking at the potential of some damaging winds. I'm not going to be surprised if we're going to hear some reports of some power outages in Breckinridge County here pretty soon. So this is heading toward Hardinsburg, basically now into Irvington at 9:55. So you've got about 10, 15 minutes before it heads into your area, Irvington. Brandenburg, folks, at about 11 o'clock, heading your direction, maybe even a little bit sooner than that. And then into Fort Knox at about 11:15, into Elizabethtown 11:20, and then of course it's going to be moving through Metro Louisville around those times as well, anywhere from around 11:15 to 11:45. It looks like this line will be moving through Metro Louisville. So let's go ahead and go back to velocity. Just want to check out some of the velocities here. If you want to go ahead and move the map off to the north a little bit. So we're looking at some very strong. There's this low-level inflow jet, by the way. All that blue is pushing that line like that. So there's that apex that the Storm Protection Center was talking about heading towards the Leavenworth area. So there could be, again, some pockets of some damaging winds anywhere along here as that low-level jet comes into play. So very strong winds. It could be still pretty gusty even behind that initial line as well. Up to the north as we go. So we got this line moving through Crawford County and then into Orange County now. Some strong winds just out to the west of you guys, heading into Paoli, French Lick, Patoka Lake. We'll go back to regular reflectivity here and take a look at the radar view. So this doesn't look quite as bad necessarily in Orange County, certainly not as bad as it did farther out to the west. Some moderate to heavy rainfall here moving through French Lick, Patoka Lake, some gusty wind conditions as well. And up to the severe thunderstorm warning here. You got heavy rain moving through Bedford, potentially some isolated damaging winds between Guthrie and Mitchell, Bedford down Highway 50, moving through Lawrence County. So it's not going to take it too long before then you're going to be heading into Jackson County in Indiana, down towards Brownstown here over the next, I'd say, be moving through your area in about 20 minutes, and then into Seymour not long after that. And then that's going to be moving over other areas along I-65 in southern Indiana, of course, Metro Louisville, and then south towards Elizabethtown. I'd say moving into Bullitt County in the next half hour or so. So Alden, if you kind of look here, we're seeing some segments that are still pretty healthy, and it looks like some areas that are kind of weakening at the same time.
Correct, and the Weather Service in Louisville is going to allow that severe thunderstorm warning for Du Bois, Hancock, and Perry counties in Indiana to expire, which also tells me that they're probably seeing a little bit of a weakening trend with that and aren't necessarily planning on extending that warning downstream. They might still do so a little bit later here. They're probably just keeping an eye on it. But what I've really noticed over the last little bit here, putting this whole line into motion, is that it really seems to have lost a lot of its strength, and we're seeing that stronger activity literally just south of I-64, and the most significant activity is still back to our west near Grayson County, making its way towards Litchfield. So as we continue through the night, we're probably going to have to keep watching that area south of I-64 near Litchfield along the Western Kentucky Parkway for the more significant weather for tonight. But so far, things have been kind of only barely on the severe side of things for tonight, which is a good thing.
And have you guys seen any reports in the chat about any new reports of any damage or wind gusts?
I've not seen any new reports since I last told you about some of that damage that was seen there in Du Bois County near Jasper and Huntingburg.
And to your point about that southern section of this line, there's a very large severe thunderstorm warning that came out near Bowling Green. So warning this entire southern segment. We're going to need to watch this as it drifts towards Grayson County, Hart, Greene, Taylor, Adair County over the next 1 to 2 hours. Yeah, just a ton of lightning strikes. There could be portions of this maybe that try to kind of sag off to the south a little bit here down over the Cumberland Parkway. So definitely some kind of juicier atmosphere down here, more charged up atmosphere, a little more storm fuel perhaps as we look off to the south. Up to the north, perhaps we're running into a little bit more stable air, and that would be certainly good news. If this becomes a little bit less organized. But there are still a lot of lightning strikes to take a look at. If you want to go ahead and make one of those lightning boxes again and query how many lightning strikes we have out there, again, that is a part of the story as well. 768 lightning strikes in that red box that you see here. I bet it's well over 1,000 if you took into account this entire line. So if you hear the thunder, when the thunder roars, head indoors. Of course, one of Mother Nature's warnings that some inclement weather is going to be heading your direction. Again, if you have a warning, an alert issued for your area, be seeking shelter immediately. Thankfully, we don't have any tornado warnings in our viewing area right now, and we are seeing some of those severe thunderstorm warnings expiring, but we still have the potential of some isolated damaging wind gusts, and really going to need to watch this area very closely as it approaches Litchfield. Let's go ahead and look at some of the wind speeds as this line gets closer to Louisville, as we take a look at the velocities here. That rain moving into Corden, Harrison County. So this is what we're watching out for. It's just the potential of some damaging wind gusts. We're going to wait and see if we get any reports out of Breckinridge County. There's been some strong winds heading through your area and into Meade County. Some winds in these pixels right here in this blue, 60 to 70 mile per hour winds possibly coming down to the ground. Now, a lot of this is up about 2,000–3,000 feet, but if we get some of that to come to the ground, it's not far off the ground, then you're looking at the potential of some damaging wind gusts for Irvington, Brandenburg, Leavenworth, possibly into Corden, not too far from Fort Knox. So if you use that measuring tool, Alden, from Fort Knox, it's only a good 15 miles, if that, as the crow flies. And this is moving we'll give it a little more than that, 25 miles to the west of Fort Knox. So this is moving east very quickly. So only about 15–20 minutes away from Fort Knox as we approach the 11 o'clock hour. Looks like we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning out here, Alden. Yeah,
60 mile per hour wind gusts. That's for Breckinridge, Hardin counties in Kentucky, Meade County, Kentucky as well, and Harrison County in Indiana. So it comes right up there to the border of Metro Louisville. Does not include Metro Louisville. Main hazard is going to be 60 mile per hour wind gusts. It's moving to the northeast at 60 miles per hour. So again, these are still moving at highway speed. So we should see them into Metro Louisville here relatively soon.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and put a track on that portion, so this is that new severe thunderstorm warning on the same areas we were just giving you a heads up on. So this gets very close to Valley Station here over the next 15 minutes to 20 minutes. So there is where our track is as this moves to the east-northeast at about 50 to 60 miles per hour, heading towards Brandenburg in just a couple minutes. And you can see Brandenburg right here, that line almost on top of you. Into Fort Knox at about 11:10. So again, this is about 20–25 miles out to the west of you there in Fort Knox, heading through the rest of Meade County here over the next 10 to 15 minutes. Into Shepherdsville, talking about Bullitt County now at 11:25. So that's going to be coming right up to Interstate 65 through Bullitt County, down into Hardin County around Elizabethtown. As we head towards 11:30 p.m. Into Mount Washington, again, more Bullitt County, there at around 11:35, and into Shelbyville, Kentucky. If it does hold together, we're talking as we approach midnight around 11:50. That means it has moved all the way through Louisville by that time as well. So heads up, now Metro Louisville, that line not too far out to the west, and I guarantee if you take a look out your western window, you're going to see just a lightning show with tons of lightning strikes streaking across the sky. Good news for Orange County as we look live here with our Midway University cams, our U of L Health camera network. We're looking at the western sky here from Hurstbourne Parkway, Interstate 64. Start to see some of those live lightning flashes. This is downtown, by the way. This view is about 10 miles off to the east of downtown. So here's downtown Louisville. We're looking at the western sky, southwestern sky, and just kind of waiting to see if we see some more of those lightning strikes out there. So yeah, again, we've got a lightning factory with the warm air that we've had around the area here lately, feeding some of these thunderstorms that we have, that squall line that we're tracking now just out to the west of Louisville. So frequent cloud to ground lightning is what we are seeing. Very heavy torrential rainfall, the potential of some isolated damaging wind gusts along this entire line. Thankfully, we don't have as many warnings as we did earlier, and we don't have any tornado warnings at this time. This is the severe thunderstorm warning that includes much of Meade County, stretches in the northern tip of Hardin County, and for southern Harrison County. About to get some very heavy rainfall in Harrison County, into Brandenburg, Irvington, that leading edge with the potential of some damaging winds moving through Hardinsburg as well. Now, there's some good news on the northern side of this. If you want to just look up towards Orange County here, Alden, that doesn't look nearly as bad. That leading edge here has really weakened as it's been moving through Orange County and this area here through Lawrence County in Indiana. So this looks a whole lot less strong as it moves towards Salem, and we hope that remains the same as it moves through Washington County, Scott County in Indiana, Scottsburg over to Salem here along Highway 56, not looking as bad whatsoever. But still, the strongest portion of this moving near Corden, down south over the Ohio River into Brandenburg, Irvington, and Hardinsburg. And how long is that warning out for, Alden?
That warning goes until 11:15 Eastern time, and also talking about that warning, the Weather Service is saying that they can't ignore the wind signatures, which we again have seen around that 60 to 70 mile per hour range. But the stability of the atmosphere does begin to increase quite significantly once you approach the metro area, which tells us that as that storm gets closer to Metro Louisville, we probably would begin to see it weaken a little bit. But they might still extend that warning eastward to include Metro Louisville a little bit after 11:15. But for the most part right now, it's just a heavy rain and a wind threat up to about around that 60 mile per hour range, with stability increasing, meaning there's not a lot of storm fuel for these storms to work with as effectively you cross the I-65 corridor.
And I do think we should be able to start our broadcast at 11 o'clock if we still do not have any more tornado warnings out there. And we have just a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in the entire viewing area. In fact, I think just that one severe thunderstorm warning, of course, getting closer to Louisville. But yeah, still the potential of some isolated damaging wind gusts. And then out to the Western Kentucky Parkway here, just a heads up for Grayson County. It looks like that tornado warning, was that expired as well? That was just to the west of Beaver Dam there. Yeah, so those have turned into severe thunderstorm warnings, no longer a tornado warning out to the west of Litchfield. So we are gradually seeing a better trend here as we are starting to see this line weaken a touch as it moves closer to I-65. And that's what we were showing to you if you're with us quite a while ago. The available storm fuel is less. The energy for severe weather is less as that line moves to the east. Still, again, quite a few lightning strikes with this. These are going to be loud as they move through, some very gusty winds, potential some damaging wind gusts. There is a tornado warning that is staying south of you, southwest of you in Litchfield. But heads up Litchfield, next 15 minutes to 20 minutes, that leading edge will be moving through your area with the potential of some isolated damaging wind gusts. There's probably some really gusty winds heading through much of Breckenridge County, around Hardinsburg, in Irvington, right here, about to move through your area. So right bumping up to Brandenburg right now, and that northern edge through Corden, Indiana. Then it looks a lot weaker over much of southern Indiana. So still looking fairly healthy here along this line. If you want to put it up to velocities here, Alden, we'll take another close look at some of the pixels here and see what kind of wind speeds we're taking a look at So not looking quite as impressive as it was a bit earlier. That color palette looking a little bit different as well.
I think it's in the middle of updating at the moment,
Okay.
so it's a little bit wonky. We might want to wait a few minutes.
Okay. So yeah, we can check on that here in just a second. So we're seeing that line getting a lot closer to Fort Knox, Brandenburg, that line moving through Irvington, down Highway 60 here, heading from Fort Knox through Irvington down through Hardinsburg. So as we move the map toward Louisville here, so that line now not real organized out to the west of Louisville. We're kind of on that northern edge. But this portion could clip parts of Shively, Valley Station, PRP over the next 15 minutes as this is still moving very quickly to the east. So pretty soon, Metro Louisville going to get some heavy rainfall. Hopefully, we can do our best to dodge some of the damaging winds from that thunderstorm out to our west. We don't need any more tree damage. Of course, we have still over 30,000 power outages last check in Louisville. Let's go ahead and look at the broad view here. It's tornado watch continues until 2 o'clock this morning. This is the line of storms that we're watching very closely, and then severe thunderstorm watch is here around Seymour and Jennings County, Jackson, and Lawrence counties. North Vernon, Seymour, Brownstown, Bedford. You guys had that severe thunderstorm watch. Everywhere else, almost everywhere else, under that tornado watch until 2 o'clock in the morning. That does not include Jefferson County, Madison, Indiana. Tornado watch does not include Carroll, Trumbull, Henry, Shelby, and Franklin counties. So some good news there. And we do think as this line continues to move toward Interstate 65 into the east, there could still be some weakening with this line, which would be certainly something that would be very beneficial for all of us. Still the potential of some isolated damaging wind gusts. Let's go ahead and look at the hour loop of this line as it's moving closer to Louisville. So there we have the still chance of some strong winds. There is a radar confirmed tornado off to the north of Bowling Green, it looks like, possibly observed. So that is, as Alden was mentioning earlier, this southern flank, this southern line here is something we'll have to watch very closely. But currently, until 11:15, severe thunderstorm warning here for portions of Harrison County, northern Hardin, and much of Meade County and northern Breckenridge County until 11:15. So, of course, that is getting very close to Metro Louisville. And let us know in our ear if we're going to be starting the newscast here in just a very short period of time.
Ben, I've just been chatting with our producer, Dewey, and he was actually wondering if it was okay to go ahead and start the show as normal. Of course, we're going to continue to watch all of the warnings and keep you updated. But Ben, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and start the broadcast here. Currently off to the southwest of Louisville. We'll keep watching that very closely. If there's any tornado warnings, we'll certainly get them to you right away. All right, so here as we approach 11 o'clock on your Sunday night.
WHAS 11, weather first.
Well, you're looking live over the Louisville area as our storm team has been tracking severe weather that is moving through the area. It's approaching the area, of course, after earlier today. This is the second round, and we want to go to some video that was shot earlier today. Check this out. From Hurstbourne and Shelbyville Road, Andy Block captured the moment a tree fell onto his house during that first round this afternoon, and you can see just how strong those wind gusts are as the storm is happening right outside of his porch. And after the storm, you can see the damage left behind. That tree split right in half and across the roof. And thanks so much for staying with us here on the night team. I'm Connie Leonard. One person in Louisville has already died from the storms earlier today. LMPD said the man was struck by a tree in Jefferson County. We've got team coverage to help you stay weather aware as this more dangerous weather could be coming through. All right, we have all of our meteorologists here. As you know, Ben Pine, Alden German, and Christina San Juan have been here all day keeping you informed. And right now, according to LG&E's website, many people are without power. We want to go over to Alden for more on that. Alden?
Connie, that's right. We're still looking at about 31,000 people in Jefferson County without power at the moment. But what we're also keeping an eye on is this strong line of thunderstorms that's heading our way at the moment. Getting in a little bit closer here to one of the severe thunderstorm warnings that we have. It's just off to the west of Metro Louisville. It does not include Metro Louisville at the moment, but we are expecting those wind speeds up to around 60 miles per hour to be making its way into the metro area here, probably within about the next 15 to 20 minutes. If not sooner than that. Thankfully, we don't have any tornado warnings that we're concerned with, but there is some torrential rainfall with this storm and that severe thunderstorm warning. So Brandenburg, you're experiencing some very heavy rainfall at the moment. Also for folks in Irvington, Corydon, you're also seeing some very heavy rain. We do have a tornado watch that's in effect until 2 a.m. for all of these counties that are highlighted in that light pink shade. I do believe we'll see a lot of those counties get dropped here as we continue over the next several minutes here, but so far we have not seen anything. There's also a flood watch in effect in that green shade that's also underneath that tornado watch. That goes until tomorrow morning at around 8 a.m. because of the potential for that heavy rain falling on top of a very saturated ground to result in some areas of flooding. Thankfully, we have not had any flood warnings issued so far in our area. But Connie, as I get ready to send it back over to you, we're going to continue to track this line here. But earlier today, we did see several of those storms create a lot of destruction across the metro area. As mentioned, we still have several tens of thousands that are without power at the moment. And unfortunately, there was a fatality that was reported earlier as well. Connie.
All right, and we'll jump right back to you guys as soon as needed. Alden, thank you so much. Just going back to the power outages, let's take one more look. So many people without power early this afternoon. Right now, the numbers, Jefferson County slightly over 31,000, as Alden mentioned. In Oldham County, there are 985, and in Bullitt, 335. Meanwhile, in southern Indiana, in Jefferson County, we're still getting those numbers in, so we'll get more of that in just a few minutes. There was damage all across our viewing area from the first round of storms that hit around 12:30 this afternoon. As Alden just mentioned, one man died after being hit by a falling tree that was in the Owl Creek neighborhood in East Louisville, just outside of Anchorage. WHAS 11 reporter Travis Breeze and photojournalist Aspen Hester show us the varying levels of damage.
We heard that at church, that today was going to be a stormy day with some weather coming in.
In the Owl Creek neighborhood between Linden and Anchorage, neighbors were out surveying the damage.
All these, yeah.
One scene particularly sad. Police responded to the intersection of Hobbs Station Road and Lodge Hill Road around 12:30 for a person hit by a tree. Neighbors tell us they believe it was a landscaper who was trying to finish a job before the storm hit. They say this large tree fell from one backyard into another, hitting the man.
Well, that is really shocking. And just yesterday I was talking to neighbors just down this street that had a tree fall on their house, and they were very surprised by it, and it was just some of the winds we had. Allison Spurgeon lives a half-mile away from where it happened. So that just got hit just right. She feels fortunate they only have small branches to pick up. As people tried to get around town, they found many roads impassable. At the intersection of Beach Road and Old Harrods Creek Road in Anchorage, there are multiple large trees uprooted, blocking the intersection. At least 2 trees in someone's yard. There's big, thick power lines blocking the road. There are some crews here now to start clearing the trees, but it's going to take them multiple hours to reopen this road. You can also see a wooden power pole with a stop sign on it and power lines has been completely snapped in half.
So it's critical that people stay on the other side of the barricades.
A lot of damage in southern Indiana as well. Charlestown in Clark County closed its town square because of downed power lines.
So we just get the roads clear, get the power back on, those critical things. And then we just wait for round 2 and see. Mayor Treva Hodges said they had no injuries in the first round of storms and were opening their Arts and Enrichment building for anyone who needs shelter later on Sunday night. Travis Breeze for the WHAS 11 night team on your side.
And in a statement, Mayor Craig Greenberg honored the man who was killed in the storms today. He said in part, "Please join me in holding this family in our thoughts and prayers. during this difficult time. May their memory be a blessing. Well, strong winds knocked down power lines and trees all across the Derby City and beyond today. Take a look at this video from Anchorage that happened this afternoon. You can see several large trees fell onto power lines and blocked multiple roads, even some railroad tracks in the area. Residents wasted no time early on starting the cleanup, bringing out chainsaws to try and clear the debris there. And Grayson County, one of the hardest hit by the storm earlier in the day. There were homes and neighborhoods that were damaged by high winds. We have some video that shows one home that was hit by a camper trailer. Powerful wind gusts flipping that trailer into the home. The home now destroyed. These photos from Grayson County Emergency Management. And due to the impending severe weather, Gazebo Fest, of course, canceled its Sunday concerts ahead of what was coming tonight. In a statement, Gazebo Fest said, "The safety of our patrons, artists, and staff is paramount, which led to the difficult decision to cancel. All Sunday ticket holders will receive a refund in full, and then all the weekend ticket holders will receive that 50% refund. Organizers say those refunds will be issued within 30 days. Of course, don't forget you can stay weather aware by downloading our WHAS 11 weather app. Turn on your notifications, and of course, the weather team will keep you posted with the latest information from the First Alert Storm Team as we continue to track storms throughout the night. It certainly was the way that I was able to check on weather coming towards my home earlier today. So make sure you have that ready to go. Well, 2 children, a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, are among 15 people killed as devastating storms moved across Kentucky, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And the small town of Valley View, Texas was hit particularly hard when a confirmed tornado moved through. ABC's Daria Albinger has the details.
As a powerful tornado moved through Valley View, Texas, dozens of people sought shelter inside this travel center.
The minute we got inside, saw everybody, and the whole room it exploded just that fast.
You realize that this thing is way bigger than you. It humbles you. It makes you realize how powerful nature can be.
Thankfully, no one was injured.
It truly is a miracle that everybody made it through the devastation that destroyed that gas station, that they made it out alive.
The governor said hundreds of homes and structures were damaged or destroyed. 106 counties across Texas now under disaster declarations.
The car is shaking.
Melania Gill and her friend Brenda Proctor were driving home when they heard tornado warnings on the road they were on. They exited the highway but found themselves right in the path of the tornado.
Cover your head. Cover your head.
In Pryor, Oklahoma, this video captured lightning and a possible tornado. Not far away, severe weather blew out windows, brought down power lines, and damaged numerous structures. In Rogers, Arkansas, power lines tore down by the storm, businesses destroyed, residents pitching in to remove some of the fallen trees. Over in Decatur, homes reduced to a pile of debris. The threat for severe weather continues to shift to the east, with storms forecast to hit parts of the Mississippi, Ohio, and Tennessee valleys through the evening. Millions of Americans facing the threat of damaging winds, large hail, and possibly strong tornadoes. All this as millions of Americans are breaking travel records this Memorial Day weekend. There have been nearly 30,000 flight delays and cancellations since the holiday weekend kicked off on Thursday, many of them blamed on the weather. Daria Albinger, ABC News, New York.
And we have a new thunderstorm warning. We want to go back over to Alden and Ben.
Thanks, Connie. This new severe thunderstorm warning does include Metro Louisville until midnight tonight. We're going to get over to Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine here in just a moment as well. But otherwise, this severe thunderstorm warning does include Metro Louisville until midnight, and it's for those wind speeds reaching up to 60 miles per hour. You can see on the map behind me, it also includes parts of Bullitt County, Oldham County, Shelby County, and Spencer counties. And we're tracking that complex, that thunderstorm, pretty healthy thunderstorm, that's going to be moving eastward as well. So we'll send it back over now to Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine over there at the wall. I'll get some more information on this, Ben, and we will do a track on it too.
And I was just timing out this entire line. It's still moving at about 55 miles per hour, so it's not going to take too long to get through the metro area. You see it's a very large severe thunderstorm warning. Includes all metro Louisville into Oldham County, up I-71 to LaGrange, Shelby County, Shelbyville, Simpsonville, Taylorsville, Mount Washington, Shepherdsville, and includes the Fort Knox area because of this right here. So this is directly oriented from north to south. This is what we call the apex or the center of the whole squall line, the Bow Echo, and this is packing possibly some damaging wind gusts. This is very close to the radar site. If you want to put on the velocity, Alden, we can see that very close to the ground, we are seeing some significant wind speeds around Brandenburg. So here's the radar site. Near Fort Knox, there's West Point, and there you can see the wind speeds up around 60 to 70 miles per hour near Laconia, Brandenburg, Mockport. So this is again that line, that leading edge of the very strong thunderstorms. Some of those gusty winds heading towards Elizabeth. This is southern Harrison County, northern Hardin right here for Fort Knox. And then you've got Meade County right here. And then we've got Metro Louisville, Valley Station, PRP, the southwest side of Louisville. So this is all moving very rapidly to the east, about 55 miles per hour. So
even faster than that, Ben. According to the warning, this is moving to the east at almost 70 miles per hour.
Anywhere from about 55 to 70 miles per hour. Included in that, the potential of 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. If you want to put a loop on this over the last hour here on the velocity, there you can see that is some jet energy pushing those storms along, and that could possibly give us some more tree power line damage, unfortunately, maybe some more power outages, still thousands without power in Metro Louisville. So that is the potential of damaging straight line winds heading directly toward a Valley Station, PRP, down to Fort Knox. This is also going to be moving to the east quickly towards Shepherdsville through Bullitt County, going to be crossing over I-65 here, I'd say in the next 15 to 20 minutes. It's not going to take very long whatsoever to head right up and through Metro Louisville. Thankfully, on the northern edge, this is a lot weaker here, the stuff that is heading through northern Harrison County and much of southern Indiana. The southern Indiana side of this squall line has significantly weakened, and we don't see any warnings up to the north. Still could be some strong winds around New Albany, but as we look off to the south, this is still looking pretty strong here as well. There could be some isolated pockets of some damaging wind gusts. We will put the lightning on as well. We do have hundreds of lightning strikes along this entire line, lots of cloud to ground lightning strikes, so some strong winds possible here as well, heading close to Elizabethtown over the next 15 minutes, moving right through Grayson County, Litchfield. You've got that heavy rain, some gusty winds heading your direction. Might be some embedded small hail in some of these areas as well. The hail has not been the significant threat. The ground is also saturated. We're going to have to watch out for the potential of some minor flooding in some areas too. There were some flash flood warnings out west around Evansville, but we haven't had any flash flood warnings in our area just yet. So again, we are tracking. Does this go until midnight, Alden, this severe thunderstorm warning?
Yes.
So until midnight, severe thunderstorm warning in northern Hardin County. This includes Shepherdsville, Mount Washington, Taylorsville Lake, Shelbyville, Simpsonville, LaGrange, in all of Metro Louisville under this severe thunderstorm warning until midnight tonight because of this right here. This squall line has had a history of producing some damage, especially out when it was out in western Kentucky and parts of southwestern Indiana around Evansville. There's some wind gusts up around 60 miles per hour. So it's about to hop over the Ohio River here in the next couple of minutes. And so that's going to put it right through Shively, PRP, Valley Station, down Dixie Highway, west into Louisville, into Portland here over the next few minutes. This severe thunderstorm warning does include parts of Floyd County, by the way, and Harrison County in Indiana, and also a little portion of southern Clark County. So basically New Albany through Jeffersonville, Clarksville, watching out for the potential of some damaging wind gusts on that northern side right there. So potential winds speeds around 60, 70 miles per hour. Of course, as this heads over a heavily populated area, it won't take long to get some reports Hopefully we don't get many damage reports, but we just want you to be ready. Be seeking shelter inside your home. You want to get away from doors and windows, lowest level of your home preferably. No, this is not a tornado warning, but still we're talking about some straight line winds, very, very strong and potent, and could possibly be doing some damage and causing some power outages. Out ahead of that line, we've got some non-severe thunderstorms that have just been firing up as well around Prospect, Anchorage, with some lightning strikes and some heavy rainfall. So as we back up and look at the entire viewing area, Alden, I want to give some areas an all clear. A lot of southern Indiana north of New Albany, that severe weather threat is pretty much gone. These thunderstorms have really collapsed and fallen apart. So we're looking pretty good here around Seymour, Salem, Bedford, Paoli, English, Jasper in good shape too. It looks like the worst has now moved through Brandenburg and Hardinsburg in Kentucky. So that we just got to get that leading edge through, and then the damaging wind gusts quickly come to an end. So it won't take long for this to move through your area there in Litchfield. It's going to be in and out of Elizabethtown here in the next half hour, moving into Bardstown here in the next half hour as well. So watching it move through Metro Louisville, into Metro Louisville right now. Thankfully, so far, the tornado warning is just outside of our viewing area and staying off to our southwest. But a heads up, if you know some folks down in Bowling Green, Kentucky, that's where there's a potential tornado heading that direction right now. So again, this is the center of the squall line that's kind of jutting out here, heading towards Louisville. So again, as we look at the velocity here, that now that it's moving towards Shively and again Valley Station, not looking quite as bad as it was. We're not seeing those blue colors indicating those 60-mile-per-hour winds, but new tornado warning here that we have. I'm guessing that's for off to the south, maybe down towards Grayson County?
Bullitt, Hardin, Nelson, and Spencer counties.
Oh, wow. Okay. So let's go ahead and put, okay, so right here, that's where we have a little bit of rotation between Fort Knox and Radcliffe, northern Hardin County,
Ben, they're saying this is a damaging tornado and a radar confirmed tornado. So I'm going to pull on our debris tracker here, and we'll take a look at that to see if we can maybe see it.
It's very close to the radar too.
It's right there near Dietz Acres and north of Radcliffe. Do you see it right there?
So it looks like we've got a potential tornado on the ground, or looks almost 100% that there'd be a tornado on the ground here. This, again, is near Dietz Acres, Radcliffe. Be seeking shelter. So here is Highway 31 just south of Fort Knox. Looks like a tornado on the ground there. We've been mentioning the potential of a quick spin-up tornado along this squall line. Looks like we've got that right there. We're going to watch that new scan come in. So now it's out ahead. So it looks like there's potential debris right there. That is just off to the northeast of Radcliffe, just south of Fort Knox, so far northern Hardin County. As we put a track on that, heading towards Hayes School at about 11:25, into Bardstown Junction at 11:33. We'll get to Christina San Juan here in a moment for some more hyper locals. We go street level here in just a second. So tornado warning out here for northern Hardin County. This is just south of Louisville. So this is the area that is of most concern right now. So it looks like there's where we had some of that rotation right there, where we had some of that debris, and that is now moving off to the east. So there's that potential tornado on the ground right there. These are very quick spin-ups. They only may last 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then they can quickly go away. So this is likely EF0, EF1 type of wind speeds, maybe 90, 100 mile per hour winds, but enough to produce some of that debris. So radar confirmed tornado at this point. Please be seeking shelter right now if you're in northern Hardin County, around the Dietz Acres area, just south of Fort Knox. This is where we have this tornado warning. As we back up the view a little bit here, Alden, heading towards Pitts Point, Shepherdsville, and central Bullitt County right here. This does include Mount Washington. Looks like the worst of it off to the southwest of you guys for a little while longer. But let's go ahead and put that squall line track along that whole area, into that tornado warned area. So between Cox's Creek, northern Nelson County, up to Mount Washington is where we have this tornado-warned storm heading towards Pitts Point right now, Bardstown Junction, and about 10 to 15 minutes. Cedar Grove Elementary at 11:35 into Brownington, at 11:40 into Smithville, 11:44. So be seeking shelter, lowest level of your home, away from the doors and the windows. And Christina, do you have a little closer look for us?
Yeah, getting down to street level over here, Ben, just off to the northeast, just hardly, maybe a few miles from Ratcliffe proper. You'll find roads like East Lincoln Trail Boulevard, Wilson Road. Of course, we were talking about Dietz Acres, but also even getting down a little bit closer than that. Suntan City, we have the Super 8, the Gold Vault Inn. It's right by the Walmart, the Big M Chevrolet. We also have Saunders Spring Nature Preserve. If you know that you live very close to any of those locations, please be in your safe spot as that continues to just race off to the east. It'll be near Sanders Spring Lake, and then 7th Armored Division Road and Salt River here very soon.
All right, thank you very much, Christina. And let's go ahead and go back to a broader view. Just want to show you where Louisville's at, and then show you where we have this tornado warning. So here's Louisville. This is staying just off to the southwest of Louisville, just south of the radar site. It's that little bit of a notch right there, just off to the northeast of Radcliffe, is where we had that debris signature and a potentially dangerous tornado on the ground. If we go back to the debris tracker, are we still seeing any of that debris that we had earlier as we get a little bit closer? So that would be area of the ground near the Dietz Acres area and near Radcliffe. So maybe some debris still lofted in the air. Not necessarily seeing that really good debris signature that we had earlier. If you want to go back a few scans from what we saw earlier, looks like that right there was likely the tornado on the ground. Right there, you can see it crossing Highway 31 near the Dietz Acres area. Potentially still a tornado on the ground here in far northern Hardin County, about to move into Bullitt County, just off to the southeast of basically in the Fort Knox area. We're going to see that potential for a little while longer. Quick little spin up is going to be possible. These sometimes just touch briefly and then lift back up or just dissipate altogether. But it looks like the potential of a small tornado here is still existing here in northern Hardin County. So again, just south of Fort Knox.
And Ben, the latest update, customers without power is up to about 1,200 in Hardin County.
Okay, so we are getting, looks like some damage reports there in northern Hardin County. As we look again at the severe thunderstorm warning, we have Louisville under a severe thunderstorm warning. There is the potential of these little spin-ups that we got to watch for until midnight. We have the severe thunderstorm warning for Louisville. You can see some of these gusty winds, heavy rainfall, lots of lightning strikes in all of this as well. So the worst of this moving right through New Albany, about to head into Jeffersonville, almost into downtown, heading over the west end, Portland, moving right through Shively, about to hit the airport, U of L, right on this leading edge, potentially wind gusts in excess of 60, 70 miles per hour. Unfortunately, this might cause some more power outages from the thousands that we had with that first round much earlier today. So the worst of it moving through PRP, Valley Station, Fairdale, Jefferson Forest, about to move through Okolona, and there's that live update with Max HD radar. So it has crossed over the airport, over downtown, heading towards the Highlands, Buchel here over the next couple of minutes into Okolona, basically right now, right there at 265 and 65, and then heading into Fern Creek, J-Town, Anchorage, other parts of the east end of Louisville over the next 5 to 10 minutes. So again, this is racing down the interstates at almost at the speeds of the cars, the speed limit here at about anywhere from 55 to maybe even 70 miles per hour is how fast this line is moving through Louisville. So again, we do have a tornado warning down here in Bullitt County. Don't want to ignore that as well, but I'm not seeing as good of a signature as we did earlier, but possibly still maybe a little rotation in that southern section of this severe thunderstorm. So here's a fresh update. So these pixels right here, we're probably getting up into that 60, 70 mile per hour range in those brighter colors. There's just a couple of those pixels right there. This was that little notch that we were watching with that potential tornado. So this, how long is this tornado warning out for, Alden? Is it till midnight as well?
This tornado warning is until, oh, whoops, that's the wrong one. Midnight, yes.
Okay, until midnight. So until midnight, we have that tornado warning on top of the severe thunderstorm warning here in central Bullitt County. So heading toward Bardstown Junction, you want to be seeking shelter at this time. Lebanon Junction, be seeking shelter as well. Here up and down any communities here between Shepherdsville, Lebanon Junction, be in your place of shelter. Take action right now. Still the potential of a little spin up tornado. It looks like that little bit of a notch right there is going to be heading to near Lebanon Junction or just north, and then possibly near Cox's Creek into northern Nelson County. But again, these are quick spin ups. They pop down, they pop right back up and go away. Either way, there's still the potential of some damaging winds all along this line. Let's go and put up the reflectivity again. Shepherdsville, heads up, be in your place of shelter right now. There you can see that line working its way now over Fort Knox. Pretty healthy line, as you can see here. Not as ragged as it was looking earlier, so a little more organized here. Packing a punch as it heads towards Hillview, Highview, Okolona, moving through Fairdale right now, over South Park Country Club. Heading down the Snyder towards Bardstown Road over the next couple of minutes. And again, just off to the south of that is that tornado warning. Let's go a little bit farther to the north. It looks like this has crossed over downtown. We're going to get a live radar sweep here in just a second. That'll likely put it up to the Waterson. As each update, it's moving at about 5 to 10 miles every scan we're getting because of how quickly this line is moving. So it is now 11:27 on your Sunday night, and this is timed out very well. We can take a live look outside if we have those cams. We've had some of our live cams shaken in those strong winds. So there's a look at some of that rain coming down with frequent cloud to ground lightning strikes. It's part of our U of L Health Camera Network looking at downtown Louisville, and nearly continuous lightning strikes. There are hundreds of lightning strikes. The camera is bouncing up and down as well with some of those strong winds that we have across the area. So hopefully you are not out in this. Just stay inside until it moves through. It's this front edge of this squall line that has the most threatening conditions here with the potential of damaging straight line winds and maybe a brief spin-up tornado as well. Hail has not been a big issue, but there could be some ponding of water on the roads, maybe some minor flooding to deal with after the very heavy rainfall that we picked up earlier today. So again, just looking at a different view here at U of L, our Hurstbourne camera here, our Midway University cam. This is along Hurstbourne Parkway, Interstate 64. Again, seeing a lot of those flashes of lightning out there and some of those strong winds about to head to this location too, which is about 10 miles east of downtown Louisville. Let's go ahead and go back to Max HD radar, and we are tracking this very strong line, this squall line moving right through Louisville right now. Very heavy rainfall over downtown. The leading edge here with those potential damaging winds right over Jeffersonville has moved through to Albany. Once you get to this backside, severe weather threat is done. So the severe weather threat over with for the Knobs, Georgetown, Lanesville, Elizabeth, Corden, PRP, Valley Station. The worst of it is now moving east of your area. Notice with that latest scan, you're seeing that leading edge moving towards St. Matthews, over Linden right now, Butyl, heading towards Fern Creek, Anchorage, Fisherville, Crestwood over the next 10 minutes or so, and J-Town as well, moving right up over Okolona and tracking down the outer loop right now is where we have some of the potential of damaging winds. And again, it won't take long. What was it, Alden, about 35,000 still without power?
Yeah, we're actually down now to, it looks like 30,000. So that is an improvement of a handful of 100 or so people. But regarding that tornado warning and how quickly it popped up, the Weather Service was kind of saying the same thing. It was just a very quick spin up that came, and they did have that tornado debris signature on it, which is why they issued that warning. And within the last couple of minutes too, they have downgraded that tornado warning from radar observed to radar indicated, which means that they aren't seeing the signs as confidently that there is an actual confirmed tornado there on the ground, but they are still seeing some of that broad rotation that we were looking at earlier. and that's still going to be a threat that we face here over the course of it tonight. Some of those leading edges possibly resulting in a very quick spin up that can happen in between radar scans, radar updates every 2 to 3 minutes. So in that time, we can't get a brief tornado to touch down in a time frame where we just literally cannot see it, and then we see it a little bit later after it actually makes that touchdown. But so far, that one tornado warning there. They've canceled it for Hardin County. So if you are in Hardin County, you are now in the clear, but it does still continue until midnight for parts of Bullitt County, parts of Nelson County, and parts of Spencer County as well.
Alden, you mentioned that the power outages, yes, thankfully here in Jefferson County have gone down, but with that incredibly strong wind that's now pushing through, say, Hardin and Breckenridge, we do have the latest numbers on those power outages, and they are unfortunately just growing. We have just over 1,200 outages in Hardin, 1,263 in Breckenridge, and then over 2,600 in Meade County. And again, we are down in Jefferson, but still, that's not saying a whole lot because over 30,000 people still are without power. This is the latest as of about 5 minutes ago.
And looking at this map here on the screen, we can see that there are even more power outages there in parts of western Kentucky right now. So although we do have some significant power outages here, it could be a lot worse. They had a lot of confirmed tornadoes in western Kentucky earlier and some much stronger wind speeds. So a lot of folks across the Bluegrass State in the dark tonight.
And I would keep that 30,000 number in Metro Louisville as a base for maybe some additional power outages that we're going to have once this line moves on through. And unfortunately, maybe some more reports of some tree damage and some power line damage with this very strong line that is now moving over the Watterson, and it's about to move over the Snyder on the east end. So this is that leading edge that we're watching out for potential damaging wind gusts heading to Fern Creek. And as Alden mentioned, this scan can be a couple minutes old, and that line might already be, say, right here over Fern Creek, over Bardstown Road, over J-Town, Anchorage, Prospect, Crestwood, heading into Oldham County here over the next 15 minutes or so. But it looks like this northern part, not quite as bad around Prospect. It's this north to south oriented, more organized area I got to watch out for the potential damaging winds. Let's go ahead and put up the velocity here, Alden, and see what kind of wind speeds, because we're pretty close to the radar. So if you look at these brighter spots here around Northfield, Plantation, Langdon Place, Linden, 60-mile-per-hour winds. That can do damage, obviously, to trees and power lines. So these are some pretty strong winds that if they're not on the ground, they're just above treetop level. So this is why we're watching this very closely. That's why there's a severe thunderstorm warning for all of Metro Louisville until midnight tonight. And still seeing the potential damaging winds around Shepherdsville. That's going to be heading into Mount Washington here over the next 5 minutes into Lebanon Junction. You've got the potential of damaging wind gusts as well, basically cutting right through the heart and the center of Bullitt County with these potentially damaging wind gusts. And so we still have that tornado warning out for Bullitt County as well. Just be seeking shelter in the lowest level of your home. If you're around Taylorsville, Bardstown Junction, Shepherdsville, just stay inside until this quickly moves through. This line of damaging wind gusts or potentially damaging wind gusts moving east anywhere from about 55 to 70 miles per hour. So this threat will not last long whatsoever. And it looks like that threat is now gone for West Point, Northern Hardin County, Fort Knox, Radcliffe, and points west as you head towards Brandenburg and Breckenridge County, Meade County, Breckenridge County. Looks like that threat of severe weather has come to an end for your area as well. Let's go and look farther to the south here, Alden, and see how strong this line is holding together. It looks like it's some of those gusty winds heading through Elizabethtown right now. So look, again, this is the leading edge of very strong winds moving through Hardin County, about to bump into Sonora and parts of LaRue County into Hodgenville here over the next 10 to 15 minutes. We'll be heading through your area into New Haven. So again, we're kind of looking at areas down south, down 65 from Hardin County and down farther south into Hart County. Let's go ahead and look at the entire viewing area. We have a tornado watch that continues until 2 o'clock this morning for most of our WHAS-11 viewing area. Again, once the storms move east, we're going to see all these areas get canceled early as far as that tornado watch is concerned. And then on the backside of this system, notice all this green, flash flood warning. So flooding could be a concern for us as well. Tornado warning near Bowling Green. And then again, we still have this tornado warning for a portion of Bullitt County, northern Nelson County, north of Bardstown, and a little portion of Spencer County as well to the west of Taylorsville. So we did have a little spin up tornado, it looks like, just south of Fort Knox. A little bit earlier near the Dietz Acres area. The storm survey team from the National Weather Service will likely be out checking that out tomorrow once it is safe to do so. Large severe thunderstorm warning still covering Metro Louisville into Oldham, Shelby, and Spencer counties until midnight. So another 25 minutes or so with this severe thunderstorm warning. Again, the winds are very close to the radar, so that means you've got a higher likelihood that those winds are making it to the ground. So we're still looking at the potential of 60, 70 mile per hour winds moving through the east end of Louisville. Let's get back to reflectivity here. And if you guys get any reports, feel free to chime right in and let us know about any damage reports that you might be picking up. So here's that line moving through Metro Louisville. Notice on the northern end, it does not look as organized moving through Oldham County right now, but still the chance that we could see some isolated pockets of damaging winds moving through Fern Creek, Anchorage, and J-Town. So next up, it's going to be heading towards Shelbyville here over the next 15 minutes, and then towards Taylorsville with possibly some areas of damaging winds in the next, say, 15 minutes into Taylorsville. Right on Mount Washington's doorstep right now, the worst of it has crossed over Shepherdsville and is out of Fort Knox. Right over the east end of Louisville, still seeing quite a few lightning strikes as well, and some very, very heavy rainfall. Let's go ahead with the reflectivity, look at our entire viewing area here. Alden just kind of give an overview of what's going on. Then we'll put a track on that leading edge. So southern Indiana looks like there is very little, if any, severe weather threat. We have just plain rainfall now. So the worst of the storms in Kentucky, and there you can see still a pretty strong line as this is moving east over 50 miles per hour. So this is going to be out of our viewing area very, very soon, by around midnight for most locations, maybe a little bit longer for that southern edge. Heading towards Bardstown at about 11:45 to 11:50 into Lebanon, into Marion County there at around 12 to 12:15, into Frankfort at about 12:10 to 12:15, and then it's again out of our viewing area into Lexington at about 12:30 to 12:45. So this will not, again, last very long. That severe weather threat maybe only lasts a few minutes for you. Once you get that leading edge past, then you're in good shape. So this is still looking at some of those wind speeds not far off the ground. Anything in this brighter color of red, that pink color, that is a wind speed in excess of 60 miles per hour. When you get a yellow, that's more like about 70, 80, 98 mile per hour wind. Well, I hope that is an error, because that would be doing some damage if that were on the ground. But haven't had any reports of damage yet in Metro Louisville from this line moving through. It usually takes 15 minutes, a half hour once the storms move through, that we start to get some of those reports and possibly some more power outages. But we just had some strong winds with that squall line move through Metro Louisville. It is on the far east end now. Watch out here, Fisherville, Crestwood, still the potential of some of these winds making it to the ground here. I think it would be kind of some isolated pockets, but there is a potential of those damaging wind speeds making it to the ground as well.
And Ben, just in case that 98 mile per hour reading from the radar estimate is not an error, I just want to go ahead and give folks a heads up, as the wind still does have the capability to be incredibly strong around the Grand Lakes Drive. We have Railroad, Riggs Lake Lane, Dominion Way, and then it's just off to the west of you folks on Taylorsville Road, where that intersects with 265. Also, some of those pinkish colors that we were talking about over top of Old Taylorsville Road and Harrod's Old Trace.
Thank you, Christina. Yeah, and as we look at reflectivity again over Metro Louisville, we'll just kind of give you our normal view of radar for you. So the worst of it now moving over 265, the Snyder, and this is going to be moving into the Simpsonville area and Shelbyville very, very soon over the next, say, 5 minutes into Simpsonville, into Fisherville right now, moving through Crestwood. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. This is not a tornado warning for Louisville, but just a heads up, we've had some very strong winds along this squall line. It looks like the severe thunderstorm warning, we got a new one here, Alden.
No new, well, actually, just kidding. That's for Hart County down there to our south. But also regarding that tornado warning, they are going to allow that warning to expire or cancel that warning soon, as it's been weakening quite a bit, and they just don't have the feed with it. And in fact, it looks like they actually just canceled that tornado warning. So that tornado warning has just been canceled. If you are in Bullitt, Nelson, and Spencer counties, you are now in the clear. You don't have to worry about any tornadic activity, but we still have some pretty strong wind gusts with that. So still go ahead and stay inside. Not that you probably would be going outside anyway at almost midnight, but you're still going to be experiencing some of that very heavy rainfall. As for that new severe thunderstorm warning in Hart County, that goes until 11:15 Central Time, and we're seeing that line down there to our south. Still the strongest part of the storm, which is no real surprise because that's where we have a lot more of that storm fuel available for these storms to work with. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for Metro Louisville until midnight, and that severe thunderstorm warning now for Hart County, including Munfordville, the Mammoth Cave area until 11:15 p.m. Central Time, Ben.
Yeah, and so next up, just stay inside, stay in your place of shelter here. Shelbyville and Taylorsville, severe thunderstorm warning for your area until midnight. And of course, that threat is going to be moving east of Louisville here in the next couple of minutes. That leading edge right there that's moving through J-Town and the Anchorage area and up into central Oldham County around LaGrange and Goshen. That's going to be heading out in the next couple of minutes. So the severe weather threat for Louisville is ending pretty rapidly once you get that leading edge out of here. And in fact, I-65 West in Louisville Valley Station PRP, Shively, the severe weather threat has ended for you for the rest of the night. So just got to get this through, which won't take long. Again, it's moving east at about 50 miles per hour on the south end. On the north end, might be moving a little bit faster than that. So cruising right down Interstate 64 towards Shelbyville, Frankfort over the next 15 minutes to a half hour. Then they're going to be moving through Spencer County, Taylorsville Lake area over the next 10 to 15 minutes. And then next up, Bardstown. You can see some of those strong wind gusts could be heading your direction. The worst of it has moved through Elizabethtown, though you still have some very heavy rainfall. Go ahead and add the lightning strikes here, Alden. Still seeing quite a few lightning strikes as well. So it's going to be pretty loud as it moves through with the gusty winds and also the frequent cloud of ground lightning strikes. The leading edge about to move through LaRue County. A heads up, Hodgenville, some strong winds for you. Yeah, there are no warnings for that portion, but there still could be some pockets of damaging winds along this entire line. So this is moving down the Bluegrass Parkway and in towards Springfield, Lebanon, Campbellsville. I'd say you're about 20 minutes out from this moving through your area. It will be out of almost all the entire viewing area by, I'd say, 12:15 over the next 20 minutes to a half hour. This line should be out of here. Severe weather threat is pretty much done with. So even though the tornado watch continues until 2 a.m., for much of our area, it will be canceled early, thankfully. So here is an updated track on that leading edge of the squall line heading towards Bardstown, and just about 5 minutes into Springfield, Kentucky, just after midnight as we approach 12:10. Into Franklin County at 12:15, into Georgetown at 12:30, and into Lexington at about 12:40. So it looks like the worst of it is moving out of Jefferson County, Kentucky, out of Metro Louisville, and about to head to Simpsonville and Taylorsville and Shelbyville, and moving through Oldham County as well. This is that leading edge that we're talking about right here That's over Fisherville. We're going to get a new scan in just a second. That new scan will put it into Shelby and Spencer counties and through most of Oldham County as well.
They've also trimmed that severe thunderstorm warning, so it's now just over the east end at the moment. So
yeah.
St. Matthews area, Butyl location, Germantown, you're no longer in that severe thunderstorm warning. You're just seeing some run-of-the-mill steady rainfall at the moment, but still seeing some potentially gusty winds. And real quickly, we've been talking about how heavy the rain is. Let's actually look at what some of those rainfall totals are so far today, and haven't seen anything really update too much here in the metro, at least officially at all the international airports, still showing only a quarter of an inch. We likely have had much more than that, but a closer view looking at the MSD rain gauges, probably more on the order of about 7/10 of an inch near the airport, 6,500 near Klondike Elementary, Piccadilly possibly around 8/10 of an inch, and Floyd's Fork around 3,700. So one of the good things about this line moving so quickly is that it doesn't have a lot of residence time over your community, which means that heavy rain isn't just sitting on top of you for a very long time. It's moving relatively quickly, and it's also probably blowing a little bit sideways, so it's possible some of that rain isn't even actually making it into those rain gauge sensors. But since it's moving at such a quick pace, you're not going to have that potential, or as great of a potential, to see flooding, which is also good news.
Yeah, I just saw some reports behind you there, Alden. We had a lot more severe weather reports in western Indiana, western Kentucky, when these storms just had a lot more fuel to work with. And as the line has been moving to the east, it has been weakening a little bit, but there's still, again, that potential for some isolated damaging wind gusts. We'll stay on here with you for a little while longer while we have this severe thunderstorm warning until midnight. That does include Shelbyville. You can see that leading edge now almost out of Oldham County, moving through LaGrange up I-71. The worst of it is now moving out of Metro Louisville, so there's that leading edge that we're talking about moving up towards Simpsonville. We'll be moving through downtown Shelbyville in the next 5 minutes, heading through Taylorsville in the next 5 minutes as well. So it is now moving into Spencer County. So this is the continuation of severe thunderstorm warning until midnight that includes LaGrange, Shelbyville, Taylorsville. And the worst of it is now well to the east of Shepherdsville. So you guys in Shepherdsville are in the all clear as far as severe weather, no longer have to be seeking shelter. Same with Lebanon Junction. I know we called you guys out earlier with that earlier tornado warning. It has been canceled, so no longer a threat here in central Bullitt County. Looks like the worst of it has moved through Elizabethtown. That leading edge is now moving into LaRue County, heading towards Bardstown here very soon. Again, that track had it in through downtown Bardstown in the next 5 minutes or so. We have a severe thunderstorm warning that includes pretty much all of Hart County through Munfordville. So you can see that leading edge about to move up to I-65, Bonnieville right here, and that leading edge moving through Sonora and Hodgenville. So this is moving to the east and southeast at about 50 to 60 miles per hour. Won't take long for it to move through Greensburg, Campbellsville, Lebanon, Columbia for you guys here over the next half hour or so. By about 12:15, most of this, again, should be out of our viewing area. So Newcastle, you're about to get some of the heavy rain, lightning, thunder, and some of those gusty winds, and maybe some isolated damaging winds. We haven't shown much of southern Indiana. That's good news for you in southern Indiana because we're looking at just some plain old rainfall up that way. We're not seeing any damaging winds move through southern Indiana right now. So,
and speaking of southern Indiana, Ben, they have canceled several of those counties from the tornado watch. So if you are in Breckinridge County, Kentucky, Clark, Crawford, Du Bois, Floyd County, Indiana, Harrison, Indiana, Meade County, Kentucky, Orange, Perry, Scott, and Washington counties in Indiana, that tornado watch has been canceled for you. And you can see where that cancellation has occurred because now we see that flood watch that's underneath it. So that's good news there. That tornado watch has been canceled for all of those counties that are in that kind of faded green color, which also means that as we see this line continue to push it to the east, we'll likely continue to have that tornado watch be canceled as well. So Metro Louisville will likely be the next up there, probably around midnight.
Yeah, we're going to see, this goes until 2 o'clock, this tornado watch, but it's going to be canceled a lot earlier for most of our viewing area. Of course, these areas will linger with that tornado watch longer than our area off to the east towards Lexington. So back to the radar here. Again, we've got severe thunderstorm warning for Spencer, Shelby counties. So the worst of it is now moving east of Louisville and about to move through into Shelbyville. You can see it also moving closer to Taylorsville, probably right on top of Taylorsville right now in Taylorsville Lake. Into LaGrange is where we have still some heavy rainfall, but the leading edge is what we're watching for right there for the potential of those damaging wind gusts, and that's not too far from Newcastle. So 5 more minutes heading towards Newcastle. I'm still seeing some of these light pink colors indicating wind speeds just off the ground over 60 miles per hour. So again, that's that leading edge we're talking about for the potential of damaging wind gusts. Showing a 76 mile per hour wind speeds, again, not high above the treetops, and sometimes that can make it to the ground. So that's where we still have this severe thunderstorm warning, watching out for some maybe isolated damaging wind gusts here heading towards Newcastle Eminence. This is all Henry County, and this is all Shelby County right here. So strong winds still a possibility. The overall threat is going to be moving out of our entire viewing area within the next 15 minutes to maybe at most about a half hour. So that threat of severe weather will not last much longer here for us. And if we go ahead and take a little broader view, Alden, with that, with those wind speeds as well. Along that leading edge to see if we see any more bright spots. So it looks like there's still some really gusty winds, possibly here in Nelson County, about to move through Bardstown. So just seek shelter until that leading edge can move through, and that severe weather threat will come to an end very quickly. Some of those wind speeds, again, not far off the ground, in excess of 60 miles per hour, heading through Nelson County, right on top of Bardstown, Cox's Creek right now. Bloomfield, you'd be up next with some of those gusty winds heading your direction. And then, of course, as it moves through Nelson County, then you're heading into Washington County, Marion County, around Springfield down to Lebanon. There's Willisburg, Springfield, Lebanon. This is that leading edge. We don't have a warning on this, by the way, for at least most of it, but there still could be some isolated damaging wind gusts along that. So we're about 8 more minutes with this severe thunderstorm warning that includes Shelbyville, Taylorsville. You can see that leading edge is about to sweep through your areas, and then it will be heading towards Frankfort right down 64. Over the next, I'll say 15 minutes or so. It is all out of the metro Louisville area, that severe weather threat. So that is the good news here. We can give Louisville the all clear as far as any severe weather concerns. It's just plain old rainfall. Yeah, there might be some wind gusts from time to time, but the severe wind gusts are off to the east. So that also means pretty much all of southern Indiana is in the clear as far as the severe weather threat as well. And then Alden, if we can give some more folks the all clear off to the south, if you expand out our view here. So when you're looking west of I-65, we're in good shape here now. Severe weather threats over with for Litchfield, Hardinsburg, Brandenburg, Corden, up in English, Fort Knox. Looks like the worst is over with in Elizabethtown. Still just waiting for this line to move through Bardstown, Springfield, Lebanon, Campbellsville, Greensburg. That's going to happen here over the next 10 minutes to 20 minutes. Already starting to move right on top of Shelbyville and Taylorsville. And then that severe weather threat will be over with for the rest of tonight. We can all sleep soundly after that and not have any more severe weather concerns after what has been a very busy day. Are the power outages the same for Louisville right now?
Ben, I actually just got an update from our producer, Dewey. So let me go ahead and rattle those off for folks. We're up to 3,100 right now in Bullitt County. Meade County, unfortunately, is still growing up to 3,300. And Jefferson County, which initially started to go down after the first round that we had earlier today, is now back up close to 3,700 power outages. That's as of 11:50. But while I have
37,000?
37,000.
Oh, yes. My apologies there. Close to 37,000 as of about 4 minutes ago. But let's go ahead and pull up Max 3 because we do have an image and it's very grainy. It's going to be pretty difficult to see, especially, of course, because it's dark outside. midnight, but this is a picture that was sent in by Jason Dotson, who works for the American Red Cross. This was the brief spin up near Radcliffe. It was a little over an hour ago or so.
Yep. Yeah, so that's where we had that tornado warning near the Dietz Acres area. That was just north of Radcliffe, where we had that looks like a tornado that made it to the ground. That we had a little bit of a debris ball signature there in far northern Hardin County. So the storm survey team from the National Weather Service will likely be heading out there to determine whether that was perhaps an EF0, EF1 tornado that made it on the ground there just off to the southwest of Louisville. So we have no longer any tornado warnings in our viewing area. We are still tracking a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings, and the leading edge of these potentially damaging winds are starting to move off to the east of I-65, well east of Louisville now. So again, that severe weather threat over with for Louisville, over with for Bullitt County. We are done with the severe weather in Elizabethtown, so always happy to give you that all clear. So still just a heads up here, Carrollton, Newcastle, Shelbyville, Taylorsville, you guys are all right on that leading edge of the potential damaging wind gust. Not going to take long to get to Frankfort and through Franklin County. That is moving through Bardstown right now and Bloomfield. And then you can see it's going to be sweeping through Washington County, Kentucky, through Springfield here in the next 10 minutes or so. Getting closer to Lebanon around that same time frame, moving through Munfordville. You guys in Hart County have that severe thunderstorm warning as well. And then this is going to slide right through Lebanon, Campbellsville, and Greensburg with maybe some isolated damaging winds over the next 15 to 20 minutes. So as we approach midnight, as expected, severe weather threat over with for Louisville and lasting just maybe 15 minutes or so longer for the rest of our viewing area. Again, each scan we get, it pushes it further and further along. We've got it moving through Shelbyville right now. If you want to go ahead and put the velocity back on, we'll just see if we're still getting some of those spikes of strong winds. Yeah, so all on that leading edge, we're still seeing over 60-mile-per-hour winds not far off the ground. Sometimes those storms can channel those winds to the ground, and it causes some tree damage, power line damage. So about a half hour ago, as this was moving through Louisville, we went from a base of about 30,000 power outages. We're back to about 37,000 power outages, and that might continue to climb a little bit more. So this has had a history, round two, of producing quite a bit of power outages. Thousands of power outages as well in Meade and Breckenridge and Bullitt counties as this went through. So it won't be surprising if it causes a few more power outages as it moves through Newcastle, Shelbyville, Taylorsville, and through Bardstown, and then eventually into Frankfort. So packing a punch here right on that leading edge. But the other part of it is it doesn't last long at all. This is still sweeping to the east at about 55 miles per hour, and we'll be out of our entire area here very shortly in short order.
And then they're going to allow that severe thunderstorm warning to expire at midnight. So once it hits midnight, so Monday, that warning will be allowed to expire. I also have some minimal damage reports out of Oldham County. The emergency manager there reporting multiple trees down across Oldham County again. So it looks like this is probably an event that's been more impactful towards trees than it has been towards people's homes or buildings, thankfully. But still, those trees can cause a lot of damage, especially if they have fallen on a house or power lines. And we still have a lot of those power outages across the metro area right now as well. I don't see any major updates with that. Still looks like it's around 37,000 for Metro Louisville.
All right, thank you very much, Alden. And again, we have the heavy rain, the lightning and thunder. I'm going to put the lightning strikes back on too, so that's another issue. These are some loud thunderstorms as they move through. They're loud because of the wind, but also the frequent lightning strikes that we're still getting coming down in these thunderstorms. The storm's moving right through the middle of Shelby County, so it's going to be about 10 minutes from Frankfort. It's moved. The worst of it has moved through Taylorsville. It's going to be out of Spencer County in the next 5 minutes or so. Worst of it has moved through Bardstown and that leading edge where we could see some damaging winds heading towards Willisburg in the next 5 to 10 minutes. And we'll move through all of Washington County, Kentucky in, I'd say, the next 10 minutes or so. It's not going to take long to get it through there. You can see now we've seen the worst of it moving through Hodgenville and LaRue County, almost out of LaRue County as well. So this severe thunderstorm warning, as Alden mentioned, will expire in just about 1 minute, so we'll see that orange go away. And then also, is Hart County until midnight as well?
Yes. 12:15 Eastern time.
Okay, 12:15 Eastern time. And then so once we hit about 12:15, it looks like most all of the severe weather threat will be coming to a conclusion here for us for this sunny now Memorial Day here as we hit midnight with 67 degrees. And then you've got just plain old rain, maybe a few leftover rumbles of thunder once that severe weather threat, that leading edge moves through. You're still dealing with some moderate rain for a while, so just got to take it easy out there if you've got some late night travel. You don't want to travel in that leading edge, though. Just let that pass by. Again, it doesn't take long, maybe 5 minutes for the worst of it to pass on through. But there you can see this kind of curved squall line right here still is packing some jet winds. Some of the jet stream can make it down to the ground pretty much sometimes. So got to watch out for that.
They went ahead and issued the special weather statement. It seems they may have traded that severe thunderstorm warning for the special the special weather statement for that thunderstorm that's just to the southeast of LaGrange, which is kind of just one step down from a severe thunderstorm, and went ahead and put wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour. But still a good sign because we can at least tell that the storm is somewhat weakening, albeit still on the strong side.
Yeah, and that's going to be, and it's going to be out of our entire area here in just a few minutes anyway, heading towards Lexington. But good news for the folks off to the east in Lexington, Georgetown, not packing as much of a punch as it was earlier. Still 50-mile-an-hour winds or 50-mile-an-hour winds, and still could do some a little bit of damage, but not quite as strong as it moves towards Frankfort and through Newcastle, Henry County right now. The worst of it has moved through Shelbyville, just a little more left over for the eastern portions of Shelby County, eastern sections of Spencer County and Nelson County. So as we look at the broad view once again here, Alden, it looks like we just have this severe thunderstorm warning for a little bit longer. We'll wait and see if we end up getting a severe thunderstorm warning from maybe Campbellsville or Columbia. But this is all we have left. Everywhere else, we are free and clear of severe weather for the rest of tonight. So Metro Louisville, southern Indiana, areas west of I-65 in Kentucky, all clear as far as the severe weather threat. We're just watching out for these areas off to the southeast for the potential of still some isolated damaging wind gusts. It looks like, again, the worst of it has moved to the east of Bardstown. So just a heads up here in Willisburg, Springfield, into Lebanon, Campbellsville, Greensburg, Columbia, all these communities, and in between here, still the potential of some damaging wind gusts. That is between the Bluegrass Parkway and down towards the Cumberland Parkway. And again, it's not going to take long to get that on through here over the next 10 or 15 minutes. No longer have that warning for Shelby County or Spencer County. That has expired here at midnight, and we still have some of those strong wind potential heading towards Frankfort, although it doesn't look as strong as it did. Let's take a look at velocity here one last time, perhaps, as we're starting to lose those warnings. Still a few of those bright spots moving through Nelson County, possibly some strong winds here, but most of that strong wind is going to be on that leading edge. That's still over 60-mile-per-hour winds. So heads up here. Still could see some isolated damaging winds. Mackville, Willisburg, Springfield, Loretto, down towards Lebanon. Here's Marion County. Here is Washington County, Kentucky. There's that leading edge. Again, strong winds right there along it or just behind it, and going to be moving quickly through these areas here over the next 15 minutes or so. So just stay inside as it moves through. You don't have a warning, but just giving you a heads up, some strong winds still possible around these areas here down Highway 150 and then down towards Campbellsville, Greensburg, and Columbia. Really doesn't look too bad right now moving through Hart County. And then we've got some of the strong wind potential still up around Newcastle to the east of Shelbyville and about to head to Frankfort. So just a little while longer, guys. You see any more updates on power outages or reports?
I'll check out power outages here. Otherwise, we don't have any other storm reports to go through. Looks like for Metro Louisville, we still have about 38,200 power outages. So that's gone up a little bit more. In Oldham County, a little over 1,000, only 103 in Shelby County. And, well, that's outside our viewing area, but Anderson County, Kentucky has about 1,200. And Bullitt County has around 3,700 that are without power at the moment. So still some relatively high power outages. Metro Louisville is still taking the brunt of that right now, and it could be a while before everybody gets their power restored, unfortunately. Also looks like they just put out a new severe thunderstorm warning, Ben. That's for parts of Washington County, Marion counties, and Taylor County. That goes until 12:45 a.m. Excuse me. Moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. That's only for 60 mile per hour wind gusts, which is what we were just looking at there. No signs of any hail to be reported, but that line is slowing down a bit as it moves at 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, and that's not going to take very long to get through there. That's not going to be needed for 40 more minutes. So yeah, that's going to be moving through over the next 10 or 15 minutes. And the severe weather threat really coming to an end for the majority of our viewing area. Just watching out for another 15, 20 minutes there around Campbellsville, Columbia, down in Adair County and Greene County and Greensburg for the potential of some strong winds, lightning, thunder, heavy rainfall, and that severe weather threat coming to a conclusion for much of our area here very soon. So we do not have any tornado warnings, just your, I guess we could say, regular severe thunderstorm warnings there for parts of Taylor and Marion and Washington counties there for a little while longer. The tornado watch will be canceled early. It goes until 2 a.m., but it's already being canceled for much of the area as the severe weather threat is coming to an end for much of the area. Alden, you've had a long day. I'll let you conclude this if you like.
Oh, well, thank you, Ben, for the honors. That tornado watch, I do just want to say really quickly, has been canceled for many of our counties that are to the west of I-65, and we'll see that be dropped here probably soon for a lot of those counties that are to the east of I-65 as well. Don't see any other alerts at the moment. Don't see any other storm reports either as well, at least not in our immediate viewing area. So we're going to go ahead and sign off the air here. We'll still be here for a little while longer, but if we do need to break back in the programming, thankfully it's midnight. There's nothing really interesting on, so we will do that as necessary. But on behalf of Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine, Meteorologist Christina San Juan, and myself, thanks for watching our coverage. Stick with WHAS 11 News, and we'll keep you advised as necessary.